Hey YouTube, how we doing? Fish L.I. Yorker here, your friend from the East End. Well, this is the last video on trimming. I trimmed the right side of the tank. You can see I definitely went to town in the tank. If you look at the fern, and if you can see the bottom, I took a lot of leaves out. There was a lot of deficiency in the tank. Potassium deficiency from the older leaves. The potassium, what it does in the plant, it actually moves to the newer leaves. So the older leaves were getting holes and they were getting algae and they were getting old. So I removed them. Plus, because you could see right now that you kind of could see what I'm doing. What I actually want to do with the water wisteria once it comes back, because right now it's not doing too good. It's not healthy, so I'm waiting for it to really kick back. That's why I've actually increased my potassium dosing with the Aquavitro line to promote the roots to really grab, because the roots are not grabbing yet on the water wisteria, and they usually have great root systems. They grow back strong, nice and green, and this plant, when it's well, taken care of, it grows quick. So, but once it grows back, you'll see it. Anyhow, I'm gonna bring the front nice and low, and then I'm gonna wrap it around the temple, and I'm gonna bring it up basically in a staircase. So it's gonna start from the top up here. It's gonna go around the temple, and then it's gonna come nice and low, taper. You're gonna see a little. I'm still gonna leave the path there for the fish to go. But so I didn't trim any of the water wisteria, but I really trimmed the temple. Now guys, if you have temple in your tank, what I do is I actually let this, see if I can come around so you can see it. I let this stem get really thick, and then what I do is I trim it right here, and I keep trimming it. And what happens is you get all these side shoots. So I have the original stem in there, and the stem gets thicker, and then the roots get in there and they grow really good. And you can see some of the roots coming from the side, and you can see some of the roots down at the bottom. See if it focuses. There we go. And they're really going to the substrate. So I just keep the original stem, and I just keep trimming it back. And what happens is they'll get side shoots, and the plant gets nice and healthy. Once they get to the very top, I trim back to the original stem, and then it'll just keep throwing out side shoots. So you're not constantly pulling the plant out of the substrate, cutting it down, trying to shorten the plant. You're just cutting at a certain point, and then it's going from the side. It works for me. The plant stays nice and healthy, the roots are in there, and it seems to work pretty good. But I have the temple, as you can see in the back as well. I trimmed all the ones that were really passing and going through the surface, both on this plant, and there's two back there, if you could see them side to side. I trimmed those back to whatever was touching the surface of the water. I trimmed them down. I took the Java fern that I have back there on my return, on my filter fluval. I basically have it there, and I have it also on the outlet. You can see. I'm not a big fan of Java fern, but I'm sorry, I've been saying Java fern, Java moss. But what it does, it's a great plant to, if you have too many chemicals in your plant, fertilizers, you're over fertilizing, that plant absorbs them like crazy, and it's like a safety net for me. So once it gets really thick, I thin it out, I just pull it out. But that's what it's basically there for, to get rid of all the trace elements and anything that is just excessive in my tank, because I don't do water changes. I just do top offs with RO water from my local fish tank, my local pet shop. But as you can see, I really trimmed this down. Any of the leaves that were touching the surface, I got rid of. any of the older leaves from my fern. I just cut back. Now that you see me starting to dose again, you can see the new leaves, how they come in nice and bright and red. Even some of the older leaves are starting to really color red. This is a flame moth. It's going to take in from its roots, because I put the root tabs down close to the roots. This thing really has a root system. When you get underneath my tank, actually from the bottom, you can see the whole root system throughout the whole bottom of the tank. And it's split into 2 plants. I bought 1 plant. So if you look at my earlier videos, it's a tiny little plant in a pot. Now it's actually 2 plants. It's split, now it became 2. It did it on its own. I didn't do anything like that. So, and then I also trimmed back the middle of the tank. If you look at the Rotula, I really thinned that out. The middle, I got in there and just got really close to it. You know, I want this to look like a tree. That's what I'm going for, and it's supposed to, the middle's supposed to look like a trunk, and then the top is supposed to look like the leaves and the branches. I trimmed it, thinned it out, and I cut it back in as well on the sides and the front. I wanted to get more light in from the sides and to the front of the tank to get to the lower plants. I didn't do too much trimming on the left side. As you can see, it probably looks the same. I lowered this some more right here, the Rotula. Again, this eventually, it's going to be very low. It's going to be maybe ½ inch from the substrate. It's supposed to just be very low. But you can see the overall design now, what I'm trying to do. Right now, it's at the beginning stage, which is pretty cool, because any update I do from now on, you're going to be able to see the difference. You'll be able to see what I'm trying to actually do and the design I'm going for. But I'm going to give you an idea so you guys could understand, and then in updates you could see where I am and what's happening with the tank. The red velvet temple, sorry, which is it's another species of temple. That's just the red one. That is going to be all the way in the back corner from the outlet of that filter, coming down in steps all the way to here. By the way, look at that red lotus. Look at the older leaves. Look at the new leaves. Look how red and healthy they look. Isn't that amazing? When the other lights are on, 65 Kelvin, this thing is purling like crazy. Right now the 35 Kelvin lights are on, which are on the timer. But that's the idea. I want to get the red way in the back. Then all these other plants are going to be lowered. So they're all going to be basically in the triangle, but they're all going to be stepped down all the way down to the Rotula down here. The Bacopa, it's going to be in the back. You're not really going to see any of it down here. It's just going to be sticking out the back, and that's going to be the accent plant. This temple won't be so high. It'll be lower, so you're going to see the green in the back, the darker green leaves, you know, coming through. And it's going to, guys, it's going to look really nice. A lot of the plants took a hit. There's a lot of, if you could see right there on those leaves, see the whole pinholes and all that. I've actually increased my potassium just to really help these plants out. Started dosing everything, but there is definitely a deficiency in my plants. You see the older leaves starting to get also some algae. That's a sign of just potassium deficiency, iron deficiency. But again, now you guys could see the Aquaritra line, and when you start dosing, the difference. I also dose CO2 on a schedule. I track everything, I log everything, so I know exactly what I'm dosing If I have an allergy coming up or deficiency, or I see something wrong with my tank, I could always go back and see what I've done, changes I've made, and I can change again. So I highly recommend keeping track, keeping a log of what you put in, what you do, changes you do in your tank, so that way you could go back and see what you could change and make the changes in your tank that way. You know, a week or two go by and then you forget what you did, but if you keep a log, you go back and always make the changes that way. But again, this is the last video on this series on trimming the tank. From now on, I'm just going to do more updates so you can see the tank and the design start to really come together. You'll start to see all the plants start to bounce back, thicker, greener, redder, just healthier plants, and the design will start coming through. I'm not going to add any new plants to this tank right now. I know you're probably looking at it like, how can you? There is still room to add more plants. Again, this is a Dutch style aquascape, so it's about a lot of colors, a lot of textures, and a lot of plants. But you know, there's room for more, and I have ideas of what I want to do. But right now, what I want to do is just get the tank healthy again, and then we'll you know, once everything's healthy again in the way I want it, then we'll start adding more plants. But I just want to show you guys some of the new growth, and there's the tank is already showing within 2 weeks. You can see the growth in the back there as far as the temple and the bacopa. I don't know if you can see back there all that new growth in the bottom. Obviously you see it here where the red lotus, that's really the iron and the root tabs that I added, that you're getting that. But see how nice. And you know what's good about, or very cool about the red lotus? If you trim them, they'll just stay low. Like all these new growth, all that new leaves, they'll just stay low. They won't go up any higher because you keep them trim, and the plant kind of understands that you want to keep it low. But the valves, you see them? Those are all baby runners. I got them over here too. At one point you couldn't see anything here. It was all full of valves. Now it's real thin, but I'm not worried because all these plants are going to grow healthy. They're going to send out runners, and then I just keep bringing them back into this corner, and you'll see within like a month or two it'll be full again. This whole tank will be full, nice and healthy. If you see some of my earlier videos, you could actually see what I was trying to do. I actually had what I'm designing again in here looking really nice, and then again I didn't fertilize for over a month, and this is what happens when you don't fertilize. On this side, I don't know, I don't have any videos of what I've done it before. I have pictures, but again, you'll be able to see it. This is going to take a little longer. This side is going to take a little longer to bounce back. Also, plus the lights that I have right now, the LEDs are working, but the bulbs, I got to change them, which is going to happen within like the next week or so. You just got to get there and order them. Guys, the next series that I'm going to do is going to be a fertilizer series. I'm going to go into detail on the AquaVitra line. I know there's other videos out on YouTube on the AquaVitra line, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one video dedicated to each bottle of fertilizer, so that way you guys can understand exactly what every fertilizer does. I'm going to break down the science and what it does to the plant, what deficiencies you could see if it doesn't have it, and what it does when it does have it. And you're going to be able to see the difference in my tank now, because you could see the deficiencies, and you're going to be able to see a healthy plant after it's being dosed. So stay tuned, subscribe, like this video, comment, and stay tuned for those videos coming up for more updates and videos on fertilizers, the AquaVitra line, and my own root tabs, DIY. Alright guys, take care. Bye.